This niche can make you six figures as a freelancer because it's in high demand and highly profitable. It's what I like to call a workflow consultant. It's basically somebody who specializes in platforms like Smartsheet, Monday.com, Asana, Tableau, Power BI, and is able to make processes more efficient for businesses utilizing these platforms. I'm going to outline for you what a workflow specialist even does, why it's lucrative, and then how to build that business. I feel like all these freelance gurus are just like, find your niche. Like, that is the hardest part for me. That was always the hardest part. When I worked a corporate job, I was like, I don't have any marketable skills. But what I didn't realize is I was learning a skill at my corporate job that I could apply to the freelance market. This niche would be good for you if you like problem solving, if you kind of have a process oriented, I call it like organizational brain. And if you get a slight thrill when solving problems, I know that sounds kind of weird, but truly when you turn a process from like an hour long into 5 minutes, there's no better feeling than that. A lot of these businesses are using archaic methods to manage their processes, and this is where you'd come in as a workflow specialist. So as a workflow specialist, you're basically taking a process that's not efficient and you're making it efficient. And yes, that's a very oversimplified explanation, but let's break it down. So let's say a company is collecting information via email and then they need to get approvals on it and then close it out. I use Smartsheet in particular, so I would build a form. So instead of using that email, you would force the information into a form, and then from there, the information would go into a spreadsheet where then you can manage the approvals. Again, this really isn't rocket science, and there's tons of automation that are very easy to leverage in these platforms like Smartsheet, Monday.com, Asana, but companies don't have these specialized skills to create this for themselves. So that's where they're looking for outside freelance consultants, workflow specialists to help them build these things. And that rolls into why it's so lucrative. So it's a very high demand skill, and there's not a lot of competition currently. And this is because you have to actually learn the skill. It's not just like something you can do out of thin air. You do have to learn the skill in order to utilize it. These SaaS platforms, like software as a service platforms, they want you to learn it. So they make things very user friendly for you to be able to learn it. I would say this is a pretty undersaturated freelance niche because not a lot of people want to take the time to learn it. But once you learn it, you could be making real money and having really good clients, because these are not clients you're finding in the back alley, right? Like, they're really good companies looking for somebody to help them solve a problem, and the bigger the pain point, the more money you're gonna make. Okay, so if you've made it this far in the video, you've obviously determined that this niche might be right for you. You hopefully understand what a workflow specialist does, and you also understand there is a lot of money on the line here if you do it right. So how do you actually start building this freelance business? First, you're gonna decide what platform you're going to use, whether it's Smartsheet or Monday.com or all those other ones that I mentioned, and then you're gonna need to start learning that niche. The best way to learn, I think, is through tutorials and just kind of jumping in and start doing things. Another good way to learn is to learn under a mentor. So finding another freelancer that's willing to kind of mentor you and like you provide cheap services to them as you're learning so that they're kind of making money on your work technically is a really great way to start. I actually did that for a while myself, where I worked for like $50 an hour for another freelancer and he charged the client like $100 an hour, but I was kind of able to learn and ask questions, and that really helped me. So once you've learned, then you're going to need to market your skills. Platforms like Upwork or Fiverr are my two most recommended platforms for this niche. I have a whole free guide in my bio on tips on how to stand out on Upwork. I would definitely check that out. And then you'll start building your portfolio. You know, it takes some time to do that, but once you get your first client, your first review, then you will start building momentum and you can really build out your freelance business. I would definitely say that finding a community and or a mentor will speed this whole process up for you. For a long time, I only had like 1 to 2 clients while I was freelancing part-time, but that gave me the confidence to go full-time freelance when I knew that I could make enough to support myself with just a few more clients. So that's basically how I got started. I was working full-time, I did it as a side hustle, and then after 2 years, I ended up going full-time. So this is your call to action. Start by picking one tool. I personally use Smartsheet, I love it, but all these other platforms, if you're already using them at work too, lean into that. Or if you have the opportunity to learn them at work, raise your hand, say, I want to like be the subject matter expert on this, and take that as free learning. Like, you're learning on the job, and then you can apply that to a freelance career. Like, that's really the best way to do it if you can. I hope this video was helpful. This is really like a secret little niche that I don't feel like anybody's really talking about, and I'm obsessed with it. If you are specifically looking to learn more about Smartsheet, I would definitely recommend checking out my like Smartsheet beginner basics, where I outline exactly how to use it and how I am building tools in there. This is a really good like foundation for you to kind of build on your learning in Smartsheet. Please like and subscribe if you want to learn more about this workflow consultant own niche in freelancing. It's such a great opportunity. It's undersaturated and highly profitable. So check out my other videos.